Hello and welcome back to Focus Atlanta. Thanks so much for continuing to watch. In this segment, we're going to talk about a very important topic. It is suicide and suicide prevention. Cindy, thanks so much for coming on the show. It's such an incredibly sensitive topic, so sensitive, in fact, that sometimes we don't talk about it at all. Can we talk a little bit about why it's so important for you to have these discussions?
Yeah, so I founded a company called Pyx Health in 2017, and the precipice for it was that my stepdaughter at the time was diagnosed with bipolar. She ended up in an inpatient facility. So when I went to her and I said, "What can we do to get ahead of this the next time the wheels are about to go off the bus?" She talked about being lonely. And it was the first time that I kind of thought, well, what do you mean? You're not alone. Like you have us, you have friends, you live with a roommate. Like I don't understand this loneliness. And so I started researching it profoundly. And we were at the time, so this is before the pandemic, the only developed country in the world that didn't treat loneliness like a diagnosable, treatable condition like depression. It turns out that what loneliness does is the frontal lobe of your brain rewires to believe that nothing can help you, no one understands, and so you literally the body profoundly shuts down. It's more deadly than alcoholism and obesity put together. The link between chronic loneliness and suicide is extraordinarily profound. My daughter ended up passing away in 2022. And while she died of an overdose, you know, I can tell you that there were months up leading up to that she didn't want to live. To me, it became a personal passion that we had to go out there and help folks because there are many people who are dying inside and end up physically dying. And I believe that loneliness is a huge part of that and goes undetected.
Cindy, I've got to say that of all the stories that I've done, of all the people that I've known myself personally, um, that never even occurred to me that
Yeah,
loneliness was a major aspect. We think of so many other things, trauma related, that
right.
may have been going on in their lives, but we don't think about the isolation that loneliness makes you feel, how that feels to a person who is experiencing it. What can we do better?
Well, I think the first thing that we thought of when we launched was one to just call attention to it, right? Like to the signs are there. It's like if someone you knew, and you talked about trauma. Usually loneliness is sort of like comes after something in someone's life or some buildup, or it's comorbid with another mental or behavioral health disorder, right? So if someone you know, you can see the light sort of dwindling out of them, and they might be there and they might engage with you, but they're not present. Like these are early detection warning signs. I don't know if you say, do you feel lonely? Because a lot of people are going to be like, no, I'm not alone. I'm not lonely. Like we find that in seniors too, right? But if you say, do you feel like no one understands what you're going through? Do you feel like you are alone in your plight? Like you on your journey? That to me is the way to like really approach loved ones and figure out if they are experiencing what Riley was experiencing.
I've got to say, so often, part of the barrier is we don't know the words to use. Is there a place on your website? Is there a place that we can learn the verbiage to use to be as helpful as possible when someone we love may be struggling? We just don't even know what to say.
In the end, what I found personally that worked was one to acknowledge somebody's feelings. Like, because my first reaction to her, as I just said, when she said I'm alone, I'm like, wait a minute, you're not alone. Like, I was like, that's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. What she was telling me is, you just don't get it. You don't understand what's going on upstairs. And just to say, you're right, I don't, but I love you and I want to help, right? I don't. I think too often we try to be like, oh, I understand, or, I felt that way once. Like, don't do that. And really, I believe that when people get to suicide, even though there's no way to test this, there's no like scientific way. I mean, we as a company use evidence-based screenings to truly diagnose loneliness, but there's no way to test this, but I believe for people who truly like want to stop living, they have to be at the pinnacle of alone in their mind.
Wow. Thank you so much for making time for us. Thank you for the
Sure.
website there. I think it will give people a little direction. Again, so often we end up feeling hopeless, right? When we've
Yeah.
lost something, someone to loneliness, to suicide, and we just don't know where to turn. So thank you for giving us a place to turn. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, thanks for having me on. I hope it helps someone. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we are not in this alone either. I know sometimes it's, difficult to talk about. There's sensitive topics, obviously, but we have to have the conversation so that we can help the people in our lives, help ourselves to get through situations because we're in this together. Thanks, guys, for tuning in to this segment of Focus Atlanta. Please stay tuned for more.